One.
All right. So spawning over here on the top right-hand side of Alterdeum Strong.
Wait a minute. I told you to start with the top left.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna go with this one.
It
You have
depends where
video.
the camera is. Okay.
You have video. Spawning
And
as the blue Terran player.
and spawning as the purple Protoss player on
Red
the top
Protoss.
left. As Deathstalker. 6666.
What?
I just like to add the sixes on there to make them sound like a badass. You know?
Why you do this, Blake? Why you do this?
Because Deathstalker is going to win this series. I'm almost
Blake.
sure.
Blake. It's okay.
I really hope he does because he's got a badass name. He names himself Video. I'm just
No,
kidding.
I do. I name myself Video.
Video's a pretty unique name. Though.
It is a pretty
I will
unique
say
name.
that.
Is that VHS or DVD?
Probably VHS. This guy's old school, playing Terran. Nobody plays Terran anymore. Am I right? I mean, except for me, obviously. But I mean, like, there's what, 1 or 2 Terrans in the GSL right now? I mean, it's absolutely atrocious.
You know what? I can't actually answer that question. I'm not entirely sure how many there are. I haven't been paying that close attention. I probably should figure that out.
Also, even in our own Hivemind Star League, there in the Gold Plus bracket, there was not a single Terran. It was 4 Zergs and 4 Protosses.
Toss representing.
Yeah, I know, right?
So what is this in the chat spot? Faust? I expected this to at some point devolve into.
Starting in the top right because fuck Zero. Way to be an asshole, man. We love Zero. We can't just ignore him like that. Man.
Oh, come on. Really? No, it's okay.
And also Tythor. Girls are always allowed. Well, maybe not always. Under what conditions are they not allowed? When you're playing StarCraft, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they always have the best intentions until they walk in and ruin a stream. So
Which happens all too often.
it happens every week. I actually can't think of a time, and actually I think it happens every Friday too.
Sometimes it's a trap.
It is, yeah. So we do have the Cyber Core going down now for Deathstalker, and actually a second barracks coming out of video. Are we going to see a 3 racks?
You know what? With that gas there, it just might be possible because we didn't see that gas used for Reapers. So I mean, we've got a second barracks going down here. If that third barracks goes down, this is going to be a 3 racks, of course. And I'm really waiting on that, though. I think after that supply depot was finished, maybe if you trying to get that third racks out quickest, you would build it after that second supply depot. But it remains to be seen. That will actually drop.
Okay, so now actually video is using these 2 Marines to run around and scout, and Deathstalker actually knows exactly where his opponent is. Now we do see the expansion coming out of video, so it is actually just a 2 racks expand, no fanciness coming out, no such luck on the 3 racks. I'm a little disappointed. Now we have a reactor and a tech lab being thrown down. Going back over to Deathstalker's base, an interesting choice to actually go for that Stalker first, throwing down a second gateway and getting a mothership core out.
Yeah, I mean, especially on this map, I don't really see the point in 3 racks. And not only is it a really big map and you got a huge run distance, but you've got to scout exactly where your opponent is, so you know where to direct your all in. But at the same time, your opponent could just have a completely defendable natural that you don't know about. So also, I mean, yours is so easy to take that you might as well just go ahead and take it regardless. So I think what's that?
Go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
I was just going to say that, a 3 racks on a map like this might not be the best idea. It could still potentially work, but I think it's better to just go ahead and be safe and grab your expansion.
And what I was going to say is I almost feel like on this map in particular, you have to assume your opponent has that natural. Yeah. I don't see many players who would want to or need to go with a 1 base play here. I just saw, like, based on that gas timing and everything, I was just kind of hoping we might have seen a 3 racks. But yeah, you're very, very right. Like, the natural's very easily defended. And then that just prompted the thought of, why wouldn't you just assume your opponent has one?
You have the Mothership Core here going to scout this natural. Take a few pot shots there. Also, we have Drunkwa in the chat, which I'm assuming is Scadwa. He's had a few drinks tonight, though. That's all right, but we also have Tythor mentioning the vagina dentata, man. Don't even bring that up. That is absolutely disgusting. I actually watched that movie a couple nights ago. Luckily, I had a few beers with me at that point because that was awful.
Does Angry Orchard count as beer?
I actually, it's isn't it the same? It's like 4, 5 something percent.
It's
It's
like
not
4.5. It's not.
4.5.
It's not the same. It's actually lower than most other beer.
Maybe. Well, what about light beer?
Well, light
Does
beer
that
doesn't
count?
count. That's piss water. That doesn't
Yeah,
count.
I would agree with that. And the force field trapping these Marines on the ramp. It's getting taken out really easily.
But Stalker with 2 kills, so he did handle that pretty well. We do have another Stalker warping in, and a Robo facility and a gateway. So a 3-gate Robo coming out of our Protoss player.
You know, and I really think that the siege tank is a very bad call by Video. I think he should do a little bit more scouting before he actually makes the call to go into mech, because when you do have Immortals out, we haven't confirmed that Immortals are going to be produced here, but I think we can assume that they're going to come here from a 3-gate Robo. Actually, going ahead and getting an observer first, which is probably going to be pretty helpful. Once our Protoss player identifies the siege tank, and we see that that Video is going to go mech, or at least biomech, he's probably going to feel pretty comfortable here.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. One thing I am a little disappointed in, I mean, it's all a comfort thing, but I personally like to go for the Immortal first, as opposed to the Observer. Now, obviously, you're going to see everything that's coming at you, but say he had pushed out in that case. Immortals just add a lot of damage to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would rather have that extra damage, especially if your opponent's pushing out, as opposed to having that vision and knowing that, oh shit, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's some trade-offs there. I personally lean more towards the Immortal than the Observer, but the Observer obviously has its uses.
Yeah. And we also see a few Marauders being thrown into the mix here. Definitely also going to be countered by Immortal if that's what Deathstalker decides to go with. We don't actually see any Immortals just yet. And nothing coming out of that Robo facility.
And actually, he's going to go ahead and see the starport. Oh, he just parks it right there. Not going to see the siege tank coming out, and the army from Video is pushing across the map.
Without an Immortal on the way, the siege tank actually could be quite useful, especially when we see 5 Stalkers here. The siege tank is going to be very effective against the Stalkers. Not so much the Zealots, but the Zealots are in low number right now. The second siege tank is joining this force here. So, actually, okay. Yeah, there's the Immortal.
He did see the tank when he moved the Observer. And the third from Video is coming down as he pushes across the map with these 2 siege tanks, 1 Marauder, and a lot of Marines.
Also, Drunkwa in the chat. Am I on this week? This is actually our last game of round 1.
Last series.
Or our last series, excuse me. Yeah. So, unfortunately, you are not on tonight, but you will be on next week. So, keep that in mind. And if you're not there to watch, I'm going to hunt you down and do awful things.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, the move out. No, gonna kill that rock. Never mind.
I have an interesting placement for these units here. Just a little bit out of the way there on the I guess would be 4th base.
And another warp in from Deathstalker. It looks like he's just getting geared up to push. Now the
tank's gonna be.
Oh,
I love that.
Nice
all the tanks put there with the hallucinated colossi. All the Zealots completely melting away. But the Immortals can't get to the tanks because they're in those bushes. And actually, this worked out so much more effective. Wow. I suppose you can go tanks when there's Immortals on the field, as long as the Immortals can't see them. And now we do have that Observer there, but the Immortals just could not get in range.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I would like to see the Terran player go ahead, and he is actually reinforcing this as we speak. Another tank is on its way, and he's going to contain the Protoss to this base, and I like that play a lot, especially following up with medevacs, more tanks, stuff that's going to make it very, very nice, very, very safe to go ahead and expand again, which we do see happening.
I think that's actually really cool. It's going for that 3rd and 4th base pretty much at the same time. Meanwhile, you have officially contained your opponent to 2 bases. If he doesn't want to go in for the kill just yet, he wants to take map control and pretty much solidify his lead in the game right now. And I'm really going to be interested to see if he starts to go into tier 3.
Oh, no.
Ooh, this engagement. Oh, no.
And the non-perfect force field. Oh, there it is. Finally closing that off.
Immortal just barely staying alive there.
Yeah, using that medevac for position, moving these tanks up. More reinforcements continue to stream across the map for video. And these tanks just going to continue to pick away. And the poor Zealot. That poor Zealot.
Poor Zaki.
Poor Zaki.
Ooh, and we do have the Immortals out here, but I think even without the tanks, this Bio Ball is probably big enough to take care of everything that is here. We do see, yeah, these Immortals are going to fall. The last few Zealots are just getting taken care of. We do have Photon Overcharge, but it's not doing enough damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really handy ability to have, but it again, it just isn't doing a whole lot for him.
It's definitely... oh, Artosis Pylon.
Oh!
No. GG from Deathstalker.
So with that, we see Video taking game number 1 in this series.
Oh man, that did not go as expected. I wanted Deathstalker to win that. I didn't expect the mech to do so well, but I guess, you know, if you don't scout it fast enough, and also that positioning on the tanks is definitely good there.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really good trick to hide that in those vision blocks.
It just really goes to show that, you know, no matter what your composition is, if you've got superior numbers and better no matter what the units themselves are, if you've got more numbers and better positioning, you'll most likely win an engagement.
So with that, we're going to go into game number 2. I think you're logged in a little bit faster than I am. Which map are we going to?
Well, let's find out here. I'm loading up the replay.
Star Station TE.
Is that it?
That is our map. I looked at it before I loaded in.
Cheater.
I know, right? I'm sorry. So sorry.
That's okay.
Oh.
I forgive you.
Okay. Eh.
So we're going on to game 2 here. We will see if Deathstalker can't pull a win out. And that was definitely well played by Video. I love, you know, expanding out as you push and contain the opponent. Even if he had eventually held off, he'd still be so far ahead.
Texting and casting, it takes lives.
That's right.
You gotta be careful with that stuff, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not texting him. My phone just went off because I plugged it in. It buzzed.
Oh, okay.
Charging.
Okay.
I'm not texting you. No worries, man.
I'm saying, just, you know, texting and casting, that's dangerous, man.
I'm 100% focused on StarCraft right now, and nothing's gonna pull me out of that zone, so you have nothing to worry about. It's true. Now,
oh god.
I'm also ready whenever you guys are
ready. I am ready whenever you are. The women were just in here,
okay.
So...
Oh, awful.
Should we,
oh,
what?
Oh, man. Oh, I just got so many problems. I got 99 problems, but bitches ain't one. How you like that?
She is gonna come over to your house.
No, it's not directed at your wife. It's directed at the other women. You say you got 3 women in there. That means 2 that aren't your wives. I hope. Right?
Aren't your wives?
Sister wives.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay. So which side of the map this time?
Left. Top left.
Left. Okay. All right.
That's right. When in doubt, fuck the system.
Okay. All right. Counting down.
When I say left, I mean right. Actually, mean left. Go ahead.
Freaks. Counting down.
Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So spawning on the top left here, down 1 game in this series, we have our purple Protoss player, Deathstalker.
And his opponent currently up 1-0 in this series, spawning as the blue Terran pieces. We do have Video.
You know,
so
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, on this map, do you think it's going to be a similar play coming out of Video? Like, is this map conducive for that?
I almost think that it's really hard to say because, you know, we obviously have the natural outside of the main base this time. So it's just going to be a little bit different there. He's going to have to worry about having that natural straight there instead of having that wide open ramp just to engage and spread around. So I almost feel like it's probably going to be something a little bit different here, just because of the map itself and how different it is from Alpha Z. Though, I mean, it definitely...
That's a nice phone from somebody.
Is that you, Zero Lambda? That's not my phone, man. Whose phone is that? Is that your phone, Ken?
No, it's not. We do have the first barracks coming out of video.
The mysterious phone ringing noise.
It was probably Faust. Let's be real.
Oh shit!
He's trolling us.
How the hell? How did he get in here? And the barracks refinery coming out for video. So nothing too different from what we saw before. We did see that early gas in that last game as well, which he ended up using for the factory.
Yeah, and out of Deathstalker, we do see the first gas is down and being filled. The first gateway is on its way.
And I'm going to finish off the wall off there with that second supply depot. Only has one worker on the gas right now. I probably wants 3. Going for that orbital command, of course, and there's the transfer of a few other workers. After not playing the damn Unicorn Wizard song, allow your firstborn. And
no, you will not have my dog, sir.
I think he's threatening you.
I think he is, but we do see the Cybernetics Core coming out of video.
I think that deserves a timeout from the chat.
I'll let you issue that one. I'm scared.
I'm actually not signed into HighMind TV, but I am a moderator on Please. So I guess, but dude, there goes the second gas and the second barracks. So far, looking a lot like what we saw in the last game, and there goes the factory. So actually, not going for the expand as quickly as before.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to see siege tanks used again. I really am.
If he does go with those again, it really it's definitely going to be different than your typical TVP. That was something that was actually explicitly stated, as I mentioned earlier, that David Kim AMA. He did mention how little siege tanks were used in the TVP matchup. So if you can make it work, you're definitely one of the few Terrans who can. So yeah, if we do see tanks, it could be really cool. We drop it down a tech lab and probably a reactor here after that Marine's finished. But what will he get out of that factory? There goes the tech lab, so I'm thinking most likely some more tanks.
Yeah, and I mean, if that's a style that he is very comfortable playing with, obviously, why change what worked? You've got 5 games.
That is definitely true. And I suppose, if you get a medevac or even a Viking out, that will give you the vision that you need. This base here is just, it's kind of got like that peninsula thing going on there at the main ramp. So you could get some surrounds there and just possibly do some damage with the tanks used up. But this Mothership Core and Stalker and Initial Zealot, it's going to be pretty annoying here and start picking away at these units. Almost actually, never mind, that Mothership Core has barely any shields anyway, so not as dead as you think it might be.
No, and he is pulling back. There are 2 gateways getting thrown down again and an expansion, so we're going to have to see if this actually works out. Judging how that last game went, I actually don't expect this to work out too terribly well for our Protoss player.
We also see the lack of expansion here. Oh, actually, so we do see an SCV heading down there to drop an expansion, so never mind. But he did go for that siege tank a little bit earlier than he did before last time. Maybe it's just to, kind of hold off any sort of pressure from the early game. Probably not a bad idea.
Whoa, I just clicked all the way off the map. The expansion for Deathstalker is about halfway done. So his expansion will be a little earlier than Video's. Yet, I feel like Video still has the advantage in production. These Marines are going to move down, but not go anywhere after that.
And the Robo facility is going down, so we'll see if he starts immortal production a little bit earlier than last time. I don't know if he's actually expecting siege tanks, but after what we saw in that last game, that wouldn't be a bad thing to expect.
Tythor in the chat, that is exactly right. Make expand and then defense it.
And he's not going to defense it, man. He's pushing out. But I think he's going to get met with a pretty rude awakening just because of that siege tank there placed on the upper level of the main base.
Yeah, that's actually some really good positioning. If you look at how far out that extends, that covers, at least half of the approach there. So that's going to be a pretty rude awakening for Deathstalker.
We actually see a Widow Mine in production as well, so not a second tank. A Widow Mine would definitely be pretty annoying here. They don't do as much damage as they used to. But we'll see how this ends up playing out here. This is a lot of Marines here. He doesn't even need to micro there. And the Mass Recall realizing he can't do anything.
Yeah, and actually the tank didn't even fire in that that engagement. And we do have one Widow Mine burrowed, and the tank micro going on up on the high ground.
The dancing tank, of course.
Yes.
Meanwhile, 1-1 upgrades going down for video, and I don't even think we see a single forge up here for Deathstalker.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, no upgrades. And a Twilight Council going down as well
Vagina.
as that Robo Bay.
Did you?
And Woodhouse with the conversation, not related to StarCraft.
Hey, I mean, she enjoyed the comments in the chat, so.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, they're
That's
great.
Also, video supply block temporarily. It happens to the best of us. And he doesn't have the energy for the supply drop, sadly. Robo Bay for Deathstalker just about to finish up here. You know, Colossus is definitely going to be effective here against the Marines, but the range isn't quite that of the siege tanks. And siege tanks do a lot of extra damage to armored units. So we'll see if those Colossus are actually as effective as Deathstalker might want them to be. Going for that extended thermal lance. Obviously, if we're going to go for Colossus, you want that upgrade.
Sorry, I was having a small conversation. What was I heard? He silence. Scipio and Skeet. She says hi back.
Indeed.
My apologies to the chat. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You guys can flog me later.
I can flog you, right?
You can flog me whenever you want, buddy.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit. That's right. So we do see the little push out from video coming across. Cadwan, not everybody cheeses, buddy.
I don't understand all these players playing games longer than 10 minutes. Cheesing is not everything. It might be a lot of fun. You know, it's interesting to watch, but when you're being cheesed, it's not fun. I did not enjoy that game where you cheesed me, Cadwan. That might have been fun for you, but you got to think about the people sometimes.
Don't do it, Cadwan. Don't crumble to the pressure.
We do have the observer here from Deathstalker is going to see all these siege tanks move by, start to siege up there.
And actually parking that observer right over them. That's actually a really nice spot. He has a solid look at everything that's going on. Now we do have one Colossus just about to pop out. That is going to be kind of a game changer if micro correctly.
No, I would like to see some medevacs though. Not only for vision for the siege tanks, but just to support the Marines. There are a few of them here that are a little bit damaged due to stim pack or possibly something else that I didn't catch. But if he's going to stim these Marines, they did just get combat shield there. It is definitely beneficial to have those medevacs there, and they double as providing vision for the siege tanks, which is really nice to have.
Yeah.
When you see, what is it, one Colossus on the field right now, and actually no Immortals.
Yeah, and he's actually still going to have to engage this correctly because this force is not that powerful in retrospect, especially with siege tanks. Oh, and especially when you stand in the siege line.
And there aren't actually enough Colossus here. Oh, no. That is absolutely horrible.
That is a terrible engagement, and nothing like giving away which Colossus is the real one.
Yeah, right. He loses absolutely everything in that fight. And we do still have several Marines and Marauders here that survived that entire engagement, and none of the siege tanks fall. And that is not good news for Deathstalker at all. He's only got a few Zealots and 2 Colossus left, but they do have the high ground now, and he's going to actually start picking away at these. But they do have vision. Like I said, the Colossus was a little bit stepped over there, over the edge.
So now we do have a Stalker, a couple sentries, and a Zealot getting warped in over here on the side. This is still not a very good position to be in if you are Deathstalker. You're again pushed back into your base. This is very, very, very bad.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, Video has grabbed his 3rd and his 4th base. So we're seeing exactly the same as what we saw that last game, is containing your opponent to 2 bases while you take the map. We also have that 5th base going down on the right side of the map as well for video. And also just really staying up on his upgrades. He's got 3 infantry weapons on the way there. Ooh, but the use of the engagement and everything just pretty much getting annihilated there. 3 Colossus left on the field, but no gateway units to back them up.
Well, yeah, and I mean, standing right in that siege tank line is definitely what's killing him here.
You know, really, if he is going to get any upgrade, I mean, to make these zealots efficient, he's going to have to get charged at some point, just because charge makes these zealots so much more effective at dealing with tanks. But you know, he does have the bile ball here to support them. But I'm really not sure what Deathstalker can do right now. He's got 4 Colossus, but you know, siege tanks just pretty much hard counter those. They outrange them, do 55 damage to armored units. I mean, after 1 or 2 volleys, you've pretty much obliterated everything. And also, +2 vehicle weapons is also on the way here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is just, it's not looking good for Deathstalker at all, and especially, he doesn't really have that much in his base to go out and push and try and take care of this concave. Now, Video is doing a really good job of just continuing to increase his concave, increase his area of coverage. I mean, if you look at these siege tanks, he's almost up to the front of Deathstalker's base.
It's almost like that creep spread, just slowly getting closer and closer and pushing you back, and there's really nothing you can do about it until eventually, you know, you're just going to have to push, and if you lose your whole army, well, there you go, you just lost the game. So Deathstalker is probably feeling a lot of pressure right now. He knows that everything's going on out here. I mean, he's got the observer, so it's not as if he's completely blind right now. He knows that this push is going to come eventually. And actually, look, he's actually going for that warp prism. You know, honestly, if I was Deathstalker, ooh, hold that thought for later. We do see a little bit of an engagement coming out here. Now that is actually a lot of real Colossus that are going to be able to completely vaporize his bile ball.
Yeah,
wow.
But oh, now he's supply blocked, and he's getting unsupply blocked, and running through the siege tank lines, volley after volley, killing everything in their path. This Immortal is going to come out here and do quite a bit of damage, taking 1 tank out, 2 tanks out.
He's actually breaking this siege line, and you know, this is exactly, you know, what we just saw there. It looked as if it was going to go in Video's favor, but you know, we saw the tanks just get obliterated there, and that is why I don't like going back against Protoss. You know, he had, you know, 1 Immortal in the mix there, and it, you know, didn't even take much of any damage.
Oh, but Deathstalker, I don't like this.
This is definitely an overextension.
Yeah, pushing his way across the map. Now, Video's going to have the defender's advantage here.
But he does have a very good reinforcement warp in there with that warp prism. I was going to say earlier that you know, after all these Marines get evaporated, that he should drop a DT shrine and just, you know, throw some DTs around the map. That's really the one thing that I think could get him back into this game right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, that DT harass can be so valuable. He needs something right now to get him back in this game, and I see Cadwa in the chat say Void Rays. Yeah, I would agree. He needs Void Rays. He needs something, and these medevacs on, I'm assuming a move command, just kind of a decoy, and 1 gets killed.
I think the Void Rays would definitely hard counter the tanks, but right now we don't see any tanks left on the field. It's completely just gone without those. Actually added a Hellion into the mix here. I don't know if that was a misclick. There's only 1 of them. But just 10 Marines in production right now, as well as a Marauder. All right, as soon as I say that, he actually starts tank production up again.
So yeah, I would venture to say that was just a misclick. Yeah. Another Colossus coming out onto the field now for Deathstalker. He does have 1 Immortal sitting back here at his base.
The Zealots do have charge now. We'll see 1 Colossus actually falls, but the rest of them, I think, are just going to get obliterated by the Colossus here. Though, I mean, this is a lot of bio, and they are going to end up doing a lot of damage here, but he did lose 2 Colossus. He's going to lose a 3rd, and he does lose the 3rd. All the bio is cleaned up.
Oh my god.
Man.
As far as a backup goes, I do like this play a lot from Video. Force your opponent to reset his Colossus count, even if it means, you know, in some cases, a really hard loss.
Yeah.
You're now forcing him to remake Colossus, and it looks like there's a bunch of probes that are not working up here in the base of Deathstalker. So Deathstalker actually just going to continue to sit here and macro up, as he is going to be on 5 bases here very shortly.
I think Deathstalker is, he's focusing on this push right now, and that's probably why these probes are on a smoke break. Oh, there they go ahead and start moving now. It looks like Video is going to try to bait the Protoss army here into the siege tank, which is now up to 60 damage against armored units. But there are a few more Immortals here, a total of 3 right now. So I think he might stand a better chance against these tanks. But when the hallucinated Colossus here, this push is going to go well for Video, I almost think. Unless with a reinforcement bio joining the fight here, actually going to do a lot of DPS. And he's actually pulling back.
And these tanks. Immortals getting just eaten alive, and yeah.
He just go look at this. He's gonna load up for the Doom. Oh, that was a misclick. He's not gonna load up for the drop.
Aw, dang it! I was hoping he was going to.
I almost think the Deathstalker should pull back at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this push actually failed a little while ago, and just this continued push means that he really doesn't have a plan beyond that. Now, he did go ahead and take his 4th base, but I really don't think it's going to matter at this point. He doesn't have, the probe production or anything to support it. He's not building any more probes at this point.
That and our Terran player is so far ahead on upgrades and just on bases, of course. Again, we did see that the 4th base did fall, but we are right back up to 5 bases for Video. Also, battle cruisers now in production with the Yamato cannon upgrade being upgraded, and really.
And actually, Video does know that 4th from Deathstalker went down. He doesn't know about the 3rd, but he does know about the 4th.
Yeah. I think after we see a few of these battle cruisers get thrown in, we're going to see the Doom push from Video, and there's not really a whole lot that Deathstalker can do about it. He might even just use those Yamato cannons to just take out the Colossus and then rush him with the Bio Ball. Really, I can see this happening a few different ways here.
Yeah, and the 6th going down for Video now. Templar Archives is also on the way.
And Thor is here.
I might actually comment that this is a little too late on that Templar Archives. I mean, Video is maxed out and pushing out across the map. I mean, if you were going to make that transition, it probably would have been...
Yeah, I really don't see how Deathstalker is going to pull this off. This is a lot of bio units right here. And even without the support of the tanks, he's just going to be able to roll right through everything.
And the stem goes off, and everything just getting eaten alive.
No stutter stepping and just completely obliterating all of those zealots there. And wow, just annihilated that Protoss army. How in the world? Just that is a rage quit.
That is a rage quit right there. So with that, we do see Video go up in the series 2-0.
Yeah, I can understand his frustration. He feels that I've got Colossus and I've got the charged zealots. How did you just destroy me there? The answer to that question is obviously the upgrades. He was at 3-3 upgrades, while I believe the Protoss player was only at 0-2.
Yeah, that definitely did it. That did him in, and I mean that's just one of those things that comes with time, making sure that your upgrades are on time, making sure that everything goes just as planned.
I would have liked to see the battle cruisers thrown in there, but that would have been the icing on the cake. And Scipio the Great in the chat here, Terran Bio stupid OP in PvT. Well, in this particular case here, not only did he have more units than the Protoss did, just due to the containment in that entire game, but also he was way far ahead on upgrades. So, I mean, if the Protoss won that engagement, I just would have been baffled, because there's no way that should ever happen. Even if you do have units that directly are supposed to directly counter the Bio Ball.
Well, that and there wasn't enough splash output from the Protoss player. He definitely needed the help of Templars with Storm to complement all of that. I also would have liked to have seen some DTs and some Void Rays. Cadwa said he was being silly with the Void Rays, but it would have worked, and then DTs would have been better. I agree. I really agree. So it's not necessarily that Bio is stupid, but it's you just have to know how to kind of handle it. It's kind of like manhandling stuff. And Zero, hi, I see you popping into Skype again.
Oh, did I drop?
No. I just saw you come up on the little bar thing.
Oh, well, hello.
I think the main thing that won that game for Video is just simply the containment earlier on in the game. He kept his opponent to 2 base while expanding to 4 bases of his own. I think that was no matter what unit composition he went with, there was no way he was going to lose that game. Unless he did something completely stupid, which, you know, I suppose that could happen, but I don't expect it to.
Yeah.
And anyway, I am in game 3 here.
As am I.
0 RB ready.
1 second. We will be.
Okie dokie. Take your time, buddy. We are in no rush here. At least I don't.
Saving
I don't think
some
we'd have to
RAM by closing Firefox.
All right.
Leaving just the chat popped out. Alright. All set? Top left?
Yep.
Alright.
Okie doke.
Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So spawning here on the top left of Frost the Lighter Edition, we have our Blue Terran video, and apparently Deathstalker thinks he's bad. Now, I think it's more of a matter of fact that video just played that game really well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And spawning down here on the bottom left-hand side, his opponent spawning as the purple Protoss pieces. Needing a little bit of help to get this to a game number 4. We do have Deathstalker.
Deathstalker with it. Don't have time to practice. Well, I mean, I think most of us are probably in that position, but you know, if you really like StarCraft and you really want to play, you can always make time for a game every now and then. You don't have to play all day every day to you know, get a grasp of the game.
Exactly, and life is school, school, school. I think there's actually a lot of people in that boat at the moment.
You and I are in that boat, and still make time for this, and it's a lot. It's a lot of fun.
It's true. What happened to Blastoff Forever Bronze? That's a good question. Apparently, Zero's dropping the ball on us again.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Apparently. And Scipio in the chat claiming that the bio wasn't the reason the Protoss player lost that last game, but regardless, Terran bio is still stupid overpowered in the TDP matchup as a whole. And I'm going to refrain from commenting on that just because I am a Terran player, so I'm probably biased.
You know what? I disagree with the comment, but for interests of moving shit along, I'm not going to comment either. More SCVs, first gas going down now for video. Do you think we're actually going to see a Reaper opening, or is this going to be the standard thing that we've seen both times?
You know, I think he's just going to do the same exact thing before. He's noticed that it works incredibly well against this particular Protoss opponent. Also, Deathstalker went for the Forge expand, which I think is a little interesting. We'll see how well that actually works. I mean, cannons aren't going to help him out against siege tanks. No matter what.
Ewok, you are fine, bud. You are fine. Don't kill the esports. So we do see a second barracks going down and the orbital command coming in now for video. And yeah, I agree. This is kind of a very strange play coming out of Deathstalker. This is built for early defense against Zerg. Like, this build is kind of focused around that. And to do this in this matchup, I don't think he knows what really to do in this point. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but like, I think he feels like, well, God, I've tried everything else. What do I do now?
Yeah,
and this is the next thing that came to mind.
Is this a complete? Okay, not a complete wall off. He's got some space there between that bottom pylon and gateway. But yeah, I mean, this is still, I mean, like we've been saying, this is very strange to see out of a Protoss player against a Terran player. And yeah, we do see that the factory go down for video, as well as that second gas now saturated. So I think we're just going to see some identical stuff come out of video. Meanwhile, obviously, from Deathstalker, he's kind of changing it up, but we're not really sure where he's going with it.
To answer Skeet's question in the chat, Zero Lambda is our fabulous showgirl / observer.
Indeed.
From The Price is Right.
We are very thankful to have him here with us.
That's right, we are. So once again, everybody, big thank you to Zero.
The best observer in the West, indeed. And that base does go down for Deathstalker, as well as the Warp Gate is now in production. Actually throwing a sentry in there. You know, at this point, I'm pretty sure Deathstalker knows what's coming. So it's going to be interesting to see how exactly he decides to deal with it in this particular game. If he goes for the Immortals earlier on, or even goes for Sky Toss.
Yeah, and that might be what he's trying to do with this, just trying to focus into some sort of a Sky Toss build. Now we do see the double gas geysers coming out of him right away.
But Video actually switching off that Barracks from that Tech Lab and dropping a Banshee, or excuse me, a Starport onto that Tech Lab.
Dropping a Banshee onto that Starport.
Probably going to produce Banshees. That's really the only thing I can see out of that. Maybe he is already switching it up. He didn't actually go for the Siege tanks, and yeah, there goes the Banshee. In production. Now that's one advantage that this Forge Expand might give Deathstalker is if he's able to actually scout that Starport, he will be able to drop some cannons pretty quickly. But I really don't expect that to happen as he has no probes on the map. He's not going for any observers. He is dropping a robo facility, but there is also that mothership core. So if he sends that over there, maybe he'll be able to get some information.
And actually, we do have a robo coming out. Oh, God.
And Widow Mines for Video, so no siege tanks just yet.
This might actually be a little rough for Deathstalker.
I would agree with that. We do have the first Banshee out, the second in production, with Cloak also being researched. So
and Cloak is about halfway done, so we're still waiting on that.
So the Robo facility is finishing up right now. We'll see if he actually goes for an observer. It looks like he is going to go for that observer, so he will be ready for the Banshees at least somewhat. But the first one is going to show up here. It's actually hanging out there on the left side of the map, maybe waiting for that second one before it actually pushes out. But if that observer does spot it, then the moment of opportunity will have passed. Cloak is finished, so he really could use it at this point. But the observer is out and heading across the map there. Second Banshee on its way.
Is this observer going to see this?
Oh, well, let's check the vision there. It's going to be
he
close.
Does. He sees it. But did he actually catch it? That is the question.
Does. He actually turns the observer around and sees completely what is going on there.
Okay. So now, and Video does actually see the observer there as well. So now it's just a matter of how do you deal with this if you are Deathstalker.
He actually just dropped down Photon Overcharge and takes out one of the Banshees. So he activates Cloak but doesn't realize there's an observer right there, and that just completely failed.
Yeah, that could shut down pretty easily, not too much. If we actually go ahead and look at the workers killed tab, we have 3 workers killed for Video. So not quite as effective as I think he hopes it would be, but at the same time, he does drop down his own natural expansion. Continued production from Video, and look at that, a fusion core coming out this early in the game.
Off of 2 bases with all that third command center in production there. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be on 3 bases here soon and already up to tier 3. I mean, he's got the Starport on the Tech Lab.
And look at how much gas he's banking up.
Looks like he definitely wants to make that transition there. If he really, really wants to start on that battlecruiser production, he should drop another Starport, but really it could be just an addition to something that's already going to be successful even without the battlecruisers here.
Yeah. We
do have Charge on the way for Deathstalker, as well as the Templar Archives, and this time it's probably early enough. If he gets those Psionic Storms out, deal with the Bile, there are plenty of Marines here that would be effective on. But the battlecruisers are definitely going to be an interesting touch.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the only thing he's got going for him on that front is with the battlecruisers, they all have energy. Obviously, you can feedback those, although it's not going to be uber effective, I don't think, especially if you have a bunch of battlecruisers out.
Battlecruisers just have so much health, too. I think even feedbacking one with full energy would only take it down to about half health or so.
Yeah, something like that. And first battlecruiser actually is on the way.
Nice. And he's going for Yamato Cannon research as well. Excuse me, as well.
Look at what we have over here on the top right-hand side.
A sneaky, sneaky base.
That sneaky, sneaky base.
So it's going to bring Video up to 4 bases. Hasn't even pushed out yet, so isn't quite containing his opponent, who is now dropping down his own 3rd base there. So we did finally see a tank come out. There's a siege tank with those Marines. Though we do have the observer from Deathstalker in the base here, is going to see this battlecruiser come out as soon as it does, unless it gets moved here. But I don't expect that to happen. Psystorm is also on the way for our Protoss player. And there comes the first battlecruiser, and does Deathstalker see that? I don't know if he's actually looking over there. And he doesn't appear to be looking over at that observer, but maybe he'll catch that eventually here.
Oh, and we see the force from Deathstalker doing a little bit of the shuffling action down here. A couple more gateways going down for him as well. And
Video actually did follow that BC with the observer, so he knows it's out. He knows there's a tank, several Marines here. So, you know, I almost think that this might go over a little bit better for Deathstalker. At least from what I'm seeing right now. Though, you know, this once this fourth base here kicks in, it's definitely going to give Video that lead.
yeah, and do we see? Yep, we do see another pair of battlecruisers coming onto the field now.
And the third starport going down with that tech lab. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go for that mass battlecruiser. And really, I don't blame him. You know, a lot of people don't use battlecruisers just because, you know, it's kind of hard to find their niche in the late game. Unless, you know, you've got full upgrades and you've got Yamato cannon. And you've got a lot of BCs, you know, in low number that really aren't that effective at doing a whole lot of anything. So really, I mean, like we've said in the past plenty of times, this is the game that you can afford to throw. So why not, you know, try something fun? So you have a temporary supply blockage there for Video, but that's all right. Ship weapons level 1 is just about finished. Meanwhile, ground armor level 1 is just about done as well. And Protoss weapons level 2 is finishing out. Probably going to wait till that's done before he pushes out here, or maybe not. It'll be done in 10 seconds, but it looks like he's going to push regardless. And we'll see how this goes. I mean, the Zealot front line is holding up very well, and the Storm just completely annihilating all of those Marines. But there are two battlecruisers left. I don't think there's enough Stalkers here to deal with the battlecruisers.
I don't either. Now, we do see another Archon go down, and yeah, I tend to agree. There's enough armor here, enough Marines. But these Stalkers are just going to get whittled away. There's going to be one more Archon that comes out.
And pulling the SCVs to do the repair, I really like that, and I think that's definitely going to give a Video the win in this engagement right now. Both of these Archons are going to fall. And lol is all Deathstalker has to say. He's definitely frustrated right now.
Yeah, and we do get the repair on those battlecruisers, and we have two more on the way.
And we do see in the chat here, Cadwa saying, I don't understand why Protoss doesn't always go early Oracle against Terran. That the best unit Protoss has to harass early Terran. Well, if you scout it, it's very, very easily countered. Actually, earlier, I guess a couple weeks ago, when I was actually playing a few ladder games, you know, it seemed like almost every Protoss was trying to Oracle rush me, and all you have to do is scout the 2 gas and just hang around, and once you see the Stargate, drop your engineering bay and then a missile turret, and really like 1 or 2 missile turrets, that's 200 minerals, and you're completely protected from things like that. So Oracles, while very, very effective, are pretty much glass cannons, and if you know that they're coming, you can be prepared for it pretty easily. Though Scipio is right, though. It definitely, you know, it does provide a very good harassment opportunity, but at the same time lends itself to detection, which, you know, it's not a permanent detector, but it can use its ability in vision, I believe, to become a detector.
It actually just it makes Sky Toss doable in a lot of ways. It's not something I would say needs to be removed from the game. A slight tweak might be nice, but it's fine where it is. And we do see 3 more barracks being tacked down here.
And a lot of these High Templars just got warped in, and I wonder if he's actually going to make those into Archons. They don't have enough energy right now, obviously. They were just created for Storm, so if we see an engagement happen here soon, which it looks like it's going to happen at any minute now. We have a lot of battlecruisers right now, all with Yamato cannon and 1 weapon upgrades. So this is going to be a pretty pretty rough engagement. I feel like. I mean, once you get up to this number of battlecruisers, it's just so hard to take them down when they have 550 health each.
Oh, and actually, looks like he's going to go ahead and just wander over here to the 4th and try and take that out.
And also to add to the difficulty of bringing these BCs down, you know, he has a bunch of SCVs here. This might be the first time in a long while that I've seen battlecruisers actually used, you know, in a very efficient way. But we will see what happens here. I almost feel like there just isn't enough anti-air to deal with the battlecruisers. And here we have the move out from Video, going to deny this 4th base. And of course, Deathstalker is going to pull all of these units over here to try to deal with this.
But the 4th is going to fall, as are the gateways and the probe.
And this is definitely going to be the engagement that decides this game, and we will see how effective or ineffective the battlecruisers are. It looks like
oh, don't leave with the SCVs.
All the SCVs die. And so much feedback. Like I said, though, not completely killing those battlecruisers, but it is definitely enough to start plugging away at all these units. So there's not enough anti-air to deal with these battlecruisers. You know, he completely annihilated the Marines and the tank, but this is just not enough.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing actually the power of battlecruisers, especially when they're on 2-2. We do get the small force pushing up the front of the base. 2 more battlecruisers incoming. And yeah, let the slow siege begin.
Deathstalker is actually just going to counterattack. You realize you can't use any of those units to shoot up, so why not just try to take some of your opponent's either bases or something like that, you know? Try to do at least something to hang on into the game here. But this is a lot of battlecruisers, and I just don't see Deathstalker coming back from this. There are a lot of zealots here in the natural, but there are 3 BCs that are just about done. That'll probably be able to clean this up eventually.
And the mule drop for the repair.
And some more feedbacks. Not doing a whole lot of damage, though. And, I mean, this is just going to completely mop up the rest of these Archons and High Templar. Though there are still a lot of Zealots here in the natural expansion for Video. But there are 3 battlecruisers, 2 more on the way in the main that will be able to hold this off eventually.
Yeah, I'm not sure the counterattack necessarily matters. Yeah, you've got 3...
the Widow Mine.
Yeah, you got 3 battlecruisers here that are going to be able to clean that up. The rest of the push is at the front. And I would almost expect to see a GG at any point here from Deathstalker.
I mean, maybe Deathstalker, you know, he doesn't realize that these 2 bases on the far right-hand side are up and running. Maybe he feels like he's done a lot of damage to his opponent. He still has a chance in this game, but little does he know that those bases are completely up and running. So Video really doesn't even need his natural or 3rd base at this point, and he can just continue to just do a whole lot of damage to his base with these battlecruisers here. The Zealot's actually doing a little bit more damage than I would have originally expected. Just a few left, though, and they will be cleaned up here shortly.
Another small reinforcement wave coming up here.
And Deathstalker just completely leaving the game. Not a GG in sight.
So with that, Video takes the series 3-0.